Richard Branson, the dynamic founder of the Virgin Group, has built a global empire by embracing unconventional leadership strategies. His approach offers valuable insights for leaders aiming to foster innovation, empower teams, and maintain a healthy work-life balance. In this video, I'll be breaking down 9 leadership lessons from Richard's illustrious career, ranging from how he treats his team to work policies, company culture, how he manages his time, and more. If you're new here, my name's Byron Morrison. I'm the author of The Effective CEO 2.0, and on my channel I put out videos on everything from mindset to leadership and becoming more effective in your role. So make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss future videos. When it comes to talking about leadership lessons from Richard Branson, we have to start with how he treats his team. As while many CEOs like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, or Steve Jobs are notorious for their ruthless approach to managing people, Richard Branson is the complete opposite. He firmly believes that taking care of employees translates to better customer service and overall success. And he famously stated, "Clients do not come first, employees come first. And if you take care of your employees, they will take care of the clients." His success is a testament to the fact that you can scale a huge company while treating people well. With that being said, though, I do see many first-time leaders take this too far, where their desire to be nice or liked or to be seen as the leader people can turn to actually puts them in a situation where their team aren't following through. At the end of the day, to be a great leader, at times you have to be firm, where you set the right expectations and hold people accountable for what they need to do. You can do that, though, while being fair, and it all comes down to how you communicate the message. Lesson 2 is foster open communication and empowerment. Encouraging open dialogue and valuing employee input are central to Richard's leadership style, and he emphasizes listening to employees at all levels and empowering them to contribute ideas. This fosters a sense of ownership and engagement within the organization, which as a result helps get people to buy into the vision, and it makes it more likely they'll follow through. We've spoken about this a few times in this series when looking at other CEOs, but some of the biggest companies in the world thrive by establishing a culture where people of all levels are encouraged to communicate ideas that will help improve the business. The reason this is so important is often the people in the trenches who are directly involved will see problems and ways to streamline processes in a way that higher-ups won't. That at times makes them the best people to listen to because they're the ones who are actually doing the tasks. This is why at Virgin and other big companies, rather than their thoughts being overlooked or lost in the chain of command, they're encouraged to share them with leaders at all levels, especially those who have the power and influence to actually do something about them. The big takeaway from this is if you're trying to build a company that innovates, disrupts, and operates at pace, then rather than having a strict hierarchy, you may be better off creating a culture that is based on collaboration. Lesson number 3 is take risks and innovate. Richard's career is marked by willingness to take calculated risks and venture into untested markets. His mantra, "Screw it, let's do it," reflects his belief in seizing opportunities and embracing innovation. This approach has led to Virgin diversifying into various industries, from airlines to space travel and banks. The lesson, though, is a double-edged sword, because one side of it pushes the idea of innovating and taking the right risks and capitalizing on opportunities, which is key in business. Because if you want to grow, you've got to be able to take chances and explore new ideas, as you're never going to win big if you're always playing not to lose. Where this becomes problematic, though, is when people get distracted by shiny objects, when they bounce around between new ideas and they never fully stick to something. This is why if you look at Virgin, Richard never took on new ventures that would come at the expense of his other projects. He also scaled them to a point that they were established and operational, and he had the funds to invest and support these new ideas. So for me, the big takeaway from this is, yes, seize opportunities, but do so because they're aligned to your goals and visions, or because you have the extra time and resources to explore something new, not just because they seem exciting, as chances are you'll achieve far more going all in and focusing on one idea rather than spreading yourself thin or never sticking to something long enough to build momentum. Lesson number 4 is lead by example. Richard is known for his approachable and down-to-earth demeanor, and he often works alongside his employees, demonstrating that leadership is about collaboration and mutual respect. This hands-on approach helps build trust and morale within the team, and the big lesson from this is if you want people to go the extra mile, then create a culture where they know that you're in it with them. One of the easiest ways to do that is to make yourself visible, where you take time to engage with your employees, you learn about their challenges, and you figure out ways to support them in what they're doing. Remember, as a leader, you're there to serve them and ensure they have everything they need to do their job effectively. Just be careful that you don't take this too far to the point that it keeps you stuck in the weeds or it comes at the expense of what you need to be doing. Lesson number 5 is invest in your people. One of my favorite quotes from Richard Branson is train people well enough so they can leave, treat them well enough so they don't want to. The reason I love this quote is it pushes the idea of investing in your staff, whether that's training, qualifications, or developing further skills. So many companies avoid doing this as they have this fear of what if they spend all that money and the person decides to leave? Well, the way to think about this is to take Richard's viewpoint of what if you don't invest in them and they decide to stay. Upskilling your team will impact every level of your organization, from the ideas that are generated to the level of work that is delivered and the ways in which your customers are served. Investing in your team also creates an environment where they feel valued and appreciated, because by providing opportunities for growth and development and treating staff with respect and care, organizations can cultivate loyalty and actually reduce turnover. The reason being is when people feel like they're no longer growing, that's often when they get bored and start looking for their next challenge. You can avoid that by finding ways to help them grow. The best way you can do that? Ask them. Have the conversation where you find out their goals and aspirations and figure out how you can support them in making that happen. Lesson 6 is streamline meetings for efficiency. To combat time wastage, Richard prefers standing or walking meetings, believing they lead to quicker decisions and more dynamic discussions. He also discourages lengthy presentations, favoring real conversations over PowerPoint slides. He even said, if anybody ever puts the words they're about to tell me up on the screen, I'm tempted to walk out. I've spoken about running meetings in pretty much all of these leadership lesson videos. The reason being is too many companies waste time on meetings that don't actually move anything forward. This is why if you want to get more out of your company and team, one of the best things you can do is cut down the amount of time that they're spending in meetings that don't matter. You can do that through proper preparation, where you know your goals and objectives, you know the outcome you want from getting together, and you have a clear and intentional plan for how to use that time. This is how you can reduce the wasted time that's spent in unproductive meetings, which is then going to free you and your team up to focus more on what truly matters. Lesson number 7 is implement flexible work policies. In a progressive move, Richard introduced an unlimited vacation policy for his personal staff. It sounds crazy and like it would easily be abused, but he did so because he trusts his employees to manage their time responsibly. This policy reflects his belief in treating employees as adults who are capable of balancing their professional and personal lives. Interestingly, there's actually been a study on this where they found that companies that have unlimited time off policies actually find that their employees take less time off than the traditional use it or lose it plans. The reason this happens is people's mindset is they don't want to be viewed as slacking or taking advantage, so they'll keep their actions within the realm of what they view as reasonable. Whereas if they have a set number of days they'll be lost if they don't use them, then their scarcity mindset kicks in as they don't want to let them go to waste. This certainly challenges many people's fears that offering more vacation days will come at a cost to the company, and it may be something that's worth exploring and testing, especially if it can lead to increased job satisfaction and productivity. With that being said though, the research on this is still limited, and my gut is telling me that chances are this trust and autonomy may only work if you've created a culture where your team feel empowered, like they're cared for and appreciated. Because if you have a toxic work environment where people people know that they're expendable or treated badly, then they're less likely to act in a way that isn't self-serving. Also, this probably isn't going to work in every level and department, but a more flexible approach may be worth considering for your high achievers and senior executives. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this though. Do you think that a more flexible approach to giving people time off is a great idea or a recipe for disaster? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below, because I think it'll make for an interesting discussion and also give other viewers some ideas on how to build their team and run their company. Lesson 8 is value time management. Richard emphasizes the importance of addressing small tasks promptly to prevent them from becoming major issues. He advises if you don't have time for the small things, you won't have time for the big things. This perspective really highlights the significance of proactive time management and leadership, because by attending to minor details efficiently, leaders can prevent potential problems and ensure that larger projects run smoothly. This approach also demonstrates a commitment to excellence and attention to detail, qualities that can inspire similar standards within the team. That's because people mirror what you do, and if you're always on time, you're prepared, you're on top of tasks and in control, they're more likely to raise their own standards and do so as well. To be able to do this effectively though, you've got to learn to take time to slow down and plan. Because if you're always reactive, bouncing between fires and working on what seems important in the moment, that's when key tasks get put aside, which in turn can allow them to either not get done or develop into bigger problems. It's like with your email. If you don't keep on top of it, before long it piles up into an overflowing and overwhelming inbox, which then seems like an insurmountable task to clear. Whereas if you dedicate time each day to manage it, suddenly it doesn't seem so bad. And it's the same as everything else you need to do. Figure out your key priorities each week and allocate time to keep on top of them. Doing so is going to make your life so much easier. Lesson number 9 is build a strong personal brand. Richard's public persona is intertwined with the Virgin brand, and his visibility and media engagements have been instrumental in promoting the company's ventures. Not only has this made it easier for him to build relationships, get new opportunities, and scale his companies, it's also enabled him to attract great talent. After all, people read about and hear the stories of how he treats his staff, and as a result, they're drawn to wanting to work for his companies. Whereas if he wasn't outspoken about his principles, values, and beliefs, people wouldn't relate or buy into his vision and mission. This is why in the digital age, some of the most effective leaders have strong personal brands, and they invest the time and effort into getting themselves out there, as they know the long-term payoff will be well worth the effort. I've seen it with clients who had previously struggled to raise investment rounds, but once they established their brand, people were actively reaching out to them, or people who managed to scale and increase sales simply because people got to know them and wanted to do business with them. Remember, a big part of success in business is relationships, and building your brand is one of the easiest ways that you can reach and connect with people at scale. This is something that Richard has done incredibly well, and it's why so many people look up to and admire him. Chances are that's even how you found this video, as you were actively searching for lessons and insights from him. So if you're not actively putting time and energy into building your brand, really consider doing so, because it can have a massive impact on your long-term success. So some of the biggest takeaways from Richard Branson's approach to leadership are: focus on your employees. Prioritizing their well-being, happiness, and empowerment can have a huge impact in driving your company's success. 2 is have an innovative mindset, where you embrace risk-taking and you encourage innovation to stay ahead in competitive markets. 3 is develop efficient practices, streamline processes like meetings to enhance productivity and decision making. 4 is encourage work-life balance by implementing flexible policies that respect employees' time. And finally, invest in your team, as the skills they develop will impact every area of your company, all while making it more likely they'll stay with you long term. Richard Branson's leadership style shows that you can be a great leader while still putting people first, and there's a lot that you can learn from him about how to empower your team and build a company that people are excited to work for. I I'd love to hear your thoughts on this video. What are the biggest takeaways that you have about Richard Branson's approach to leadership? And are you going to make any changes in your own leadership style to get more out of your team or better run your company? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you check out the rest of my channel, as I have a ton of videos on everything from mindset to leadership lessons and becoming more effective in your role. I'll link a couple of them for you at the end. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss future videos. If you want to dive into any of this further, then in the description of this video, you can also get a copy of my book, The Effective CEO 2.0, where I'm going to show you how to maximize your time, lead with confidence, and grow a business without losing your sanity. I've been Byron Morrison. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.